participants, welcome again to session 2 of day 1 of 1 week national level online faculty development skill development program on Let's Communicate Effectively, transforming communication skills. In first session, we have seen communication as a system. We have seen communication in general sense. This session, we are going to see how communication is different. That is, how professional communication is different than day-to-day communication. We are going to focus on communication in business context. We all are professionals. We are going to be professionals. So it is very important to understand the way communication takes place in professional context and transform our communication accordingly. Along with that, we are also going to see some of barriers to communication. That even if we know all about communication, the communication sometimes fails. Why? Because of some of the barriers. We are going to see the barriers to communication and how to overcome those barriers. Let us see. Begin with a brief review again. Session 1, this is what just I talked. Importance of communication to human beings, definitions, characteristics, different levels and elements and cycle, and the essentials of effective communication. That is what we saw in session 1. And in this session, we are going to see communication in business or professional context. What are the networks, understanding the terminologies and the process and the definitions or explanation is very important here. And barriers to communication and what are the solutions. And we will end this session, day 1, with some of very important tips to effective communication, to improve our communication. So let me begin with the first one, communication in business context. I request all of you to just go with me and imagine the things that I am telling. So just imagine that there are 3 different organizations from different fields. Organization A, B or C. A may be, let us say, in finance, B may be in education, C may be in some other. So different organizations A, B and C. And there is a communication between these 3 along with many others. So let us understand how communication takes place between 3 organizations A, B, C, for example. Alright. So the flow of communication in business context, right, or let us say the nature or the communication process in business context is known as flow of communication, right? And there are 2 major types: internal flow of communication, external flow of communication. The terms themselves define, like the internal communication, the communication within the organization is internal communication, and external communication with other organization is external communication. Right. So for example, communication just in the organization A with all the members, with all the workers, the managers, everybody who is involved in organization A is internal communication. And the communication between A and B, B and C and all together is called as external communication. Let us understand what is external first. It is divided in 2 types. Inward communication, outward. I'm going to give the examples. We are going to see the examples. Let us first understand the terms. So inward communication and outward communication. So it is in external, in case of external flow of communication, it is divided in inward and outward. The communication which origins outside the organization and comes in the organization is called as inward communication. And the communication which originates from within one organization and goes out of the organization to other organization is called as outward communication. For example, suppose organization A is there and it is related with education. So organization A will have to follow so many circulars of UGC, of AICT, of MHRD and so on. So whatever circulars it receives from outside is called as inward communication, because it is UGC decides something and sends the message. AICT formulates some circulars and sends. So that is inward communication. Similarly, as an educational organization, this organization A also has to prepare something and send out, maybe to other external organizations, UGC, AICT, MHRD, DTE, or financial institutes, or let us say university. Maybe like for example magazines, annual reports, right? Results, everything is prepared in the organization and set outside, that is outward communication. Like agreements, bonds, MOUs, customers, suppliers, banks, government, let us say organizations, media, all those are involved in inward and outward communication, right? For professional context, in professional context, so the communication which is starting, let's say for example, the production department launches, let us say, or designs a particular design, and it is produced, and that is now is to be launched. So that is outward communication. You are making advertisement and it is sending in the market, in the society, that is outward communication, right? Maybe suppose some of your products are having some problems and the customers are complaining for those. So the communication is starting at customer's end and it is coming in the organization, that is called as inward communication. Let's move ahead and understand internal flow of communication. Now we are not going to focus on external, of course it is important, but most important is our internal flow of communication, that is communication within the organization. It's really of much importance. Why, we will come to know. Now, so internal flow is divided again in two types, formal and informal, right? Now the flow is actually formal. The communication in business context is itself a formal, but there is informal also a type which is called as informal. We will talk on that. The formal communication is the communication which follows certain formalities, and informal communication does not follow any formalities in business context, in professional context. Okay, so let us see now what is formal. It is divided in two types, vertical and horizontal. Vertical is what? Vertical communication is either upward or downward. Upward communication and downward communication. So simple, but the term itself defines the communication which starts, let us say, with the person who is lower in the hierarchy and goes up is called as upward communication. Opposite to that, the communication which starts at the higher let us say hierarchy and comes down to the lower, the person with very lower in the hierarchy is called as downward communication. Let me give example here. Suppose a company is there, again company A, we are talking about company A now, as it is internal communication. So a worker communicating to his, let us say, supervisor to the manager to general manager to managing director. So it is going upward. Opposite to that, it is coming downward. We will see the example. Next is horizontal communication. The communication between or amongst the people of equal hierarchy is called as horizontal communication. Like all managers coming together and discussing, all HODs coming together and discussing, and so on. Diagonal communication is communication which takes place across the hierarchy. So for example, a manager of production department can or goes and directly meets the manager of, let us say, the managing director of sales department. Or in simple terms, in education context, let us say one faculty of one department directly goes and meets the HOD of other department or the dean of other department, instead of just following the flow to go and meet the first HOD and like that. So it is diagonal for professional context. In professional context, diagonal communication is also taken place. So I hope you understood this, the flow of communication, internal, external, and in internal it is formal, informal, and it is informal, it is vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. Vertical is upward and downward. And what is informal? It is called as grapevine communication. The communication which does not follow any hierarchy, which may be official, may not be official, right? Which does not follow any flow is called as grapevine communication. We will talk on this grapevine communication. Now let me give the example here. Like as I told you, we are focusing on internal communication and we are talking in terms of organization A now. What is horizontal, diagonal, downward, upward? Like let's just imagine like there is a company A, organization A, maybe any kind of organization. There is a managing director and who is handling the company, and there are three directors, director 1, 2, 3. Then there are two managers under each director, let us say manager 1, 2, 1, 2, and under each manager there are two team leaders, under each team leader there are certain workers. So that is the flow of communication. So can you tell me what is horizontal communication? So this arrow shows, right? So communication between the people of equal hierarchy. All the team leaders coming together and discussing, horizontal. All the managers coming together and discussing, it is horizontal. All the directors together, horizontal. Okay, now tell me, the managing director communicates, has some message, has some information, and he sends to director 1, he sends to manager, it comes to team leader. What flow is it? Yes, it is downward communication. Opposite to that, suppose it is team leader 1 has something to give information, he gives to manager, then he forwards to managing director, and then managing director. It is called as upward communication, right? Now team leader 1 has some information, some important work with director 3, right? Suppose this director 1 is of one branch in Pune, it is in Mumbai, it is in Bangalore, and team leader 1 has to actually go through manager, director, and then to director 3. But as it is important, team leader 1 directly communicates with director 3, or it may be vice versa, like director 3 communicates directly to team leader 1 of director 1. So that is called as diagonal. And the emails is the great example of diagonal communication. Anybody officially, but this is official communication, and instead of wasting time in following hierarchy, it is done directly, and it is allowed in these days. So I hope you have understood this. In educational context, let me just give example like the internal, external, as well as upward, downward, and all that. Suppose one organization, educational institutes, communicates with other educational institutes and the university, that is inward, outward, external communication. Internally, suppose all the HODs are coming together, it is horizontal communication. HOD is giving some information. Suppose director gives some information to deans forward that information to head of the department gives it to class teachers, and class teachers give that to CRs, and CRs again go and give it to students. So that is the vertical communication, and the flow is downward. Suppose students have some problems, they forward it to the CRs to the class teacher to head of the department to the deans, and then it goes to director and the highest authority. Then it is upward communication, right? So that is so easy. Now yes, we are going to see the usage of upward communication, downward communication, how to improve upward, downward communication, what is the purpose, what is the purpose of horizontal communication, and everything. But before that, let me just give you one task. It is said that internal communication is the soul of any organization. Now what you are supposed to do, just pause for a while and think or write on why it is so important. Justify that internal communication within the organization is the soul of that organization. Can you justify this? Put me why it is the soul of internal communication. Put your responses in the text in the chat box or in comment section. I know most of us are working professionals, most of us are teachers, some of the participants are job seekers. They are actually on at the peak point of this particular FDP, because you are going to go in the market, which is going to be very challenging after this corona and the impact. So job seekers, you will definitely get much benefited to this, and the students who are following their degrees. So why is it so that it is the soul of any organization? Simply just imagine internal communication, that is communication in your family. The great example, the communication pattern, the communication system in your family is the soul of your family. Agree? Because everything depends on your communication amongst your family members. What is your relationship with each other, how you are communicating with each other, how much respect you are giving to each other. The same is internal communication of any organization is called as the soul. I hope you have come up with some of the responses. Let us check. You can pause and just go on posting your views. Let us move ahead. Yes, it is the soul of any organization because number one, success and growth of any organization depends on the quality of its internal communication. This is not my statement. This is not a statement of any one person. This is the result of research done in business context, that a successful organization has strongest internal communication pattern. The quality of internal communication of that organization is completely different, and that is why that company is getting success. If that communication is not healthy, is not good, that organization suffers. That is why it is very important to focus on the internal communication, and that is why in most of the organizations, business organizations these days, lot of energy, lot of time, lot of money is spent on developing, strengthening internal communication. Okay, let's move ahead. Second, it is actually the reflection of vision and goals of an organization, right? The way people of an organization are communicating amongst themselves reflects their vision, their goals, their journey and their destination. If they are going together, they are communicating effectively, the communication is very healthy, the organization definitely has great goals. If no, they are always quarreling, there are disputes, there are disagreements, there is no support system, definitely the vision of the organization is not good, as well as if it is strong, is not going to be achieved. That is why internal communication is the soul of any organization. Keep it in mind always. If you are the owner of the organization, please try to develop your internal communication. If you are going to be the part of internal organization, keep it in mind that whenever you go to higher post, you have to work for strengthening your internal communication. Why is it so? We will see. Next, quality and weightage of external communication also depends on the internal communication. So suppose the organization is there, one organization is there and its internal communication is not good. There is always conflict, dispute amongst the members of that organization, right? And one member goes out and tries to communicate with others. The other members who already know, the other organization who already knows it very well that the internal communication is not good, there is always disagreements amongst the members of that organization, they will not believe, they will not give you a good response, right? They will not give you weightage to your words. They will simply say, just look at the matter at your organization first and then come for the suggestions or the help or the whatever things, the support. Right? So the quality and weightage of external communication depends on the quality of internal communication, and that is why it is very important to focus on developing internal communication. Now, when I say developing internal communication, does not mean developing infrastructure, developing systems, developing something else, but developing the people of that organization. And when I talk about people of that organization, it means the development of the communication system, development of personalities. It is the responsibility of the organization as well as it is the responsibility of an individual to develop himself, herself in that particular way. I hope I'm clear. And it must be healthy and progressive. Always internal communication must be healthy. There will be disagreements, there will be conflicts, right? There will be competitions, but it should not result in final, let us say, decay of the organization or that business, let us say, entity, right? It should be progressive. Go ahead. We should be just going ahead and making progress along with whatever disagreements and the things that we are having, right? So with this, let us see now what else is there in this business context or the communication business context. So the nature, characteristics, functions of communication in business context. Let us see now each in detail, what is the flow and what is the function and how to improve that. I deliberately spent more time on that part because this is very important. Now, the horizontal communication, this part will focus on the flow of communication, and here nature, function and how to make it effective. So horizontal communication, as I told, it is between persons of equal hierarchy, status and position. Function is discussions, Now, when the people of equal hierarchy come together, they discuss, they take decisions, they decide policies, they do plannings, they check progress and so on. So all the HODs coming together, they are discussing, they are planning, they are deciding the policies. All the managers coming together, they'll talk about the organization and the growth of the organization. Now, how to make it effective? As everybody is at equal state, of course, there will be ego problem, there will be self-respect, which is to be protected by everyone. That is why it is very important to respect each other's ego and position, ideas, listen and respond. So ideas, everybody's ideas are to be entertained, are to be listened, are to be given some importance. It is not because you are from the other department, I am from another department, I know better. No, this will not work. You should respect the ideas, listen completely and respond, because the other person is of also equal importance as well, equal hierarchy. And it's very important, don't underestimate anyone. Like even if you find a newly joining person, newly, let us say a very young person, young teacher joining as head of the department, and you are the head of the department for last 10, 15, 20 years, don't underestimate, right? In the same way, if you are young, you will feel that you are the latest, you have latest knowledge, you are upgraded knowledge, so you are given the responsibility as the head of the department. And there is one person who is 15 years head HOD, but he does not have the knowledge. No, we should not underestimate anyone in that regard, no one, right? So that is horizontal communication. Second, downward communication, that is from higher authority to lower authority. What are the functions? Give information, give orders, instruct, give advice, sometimes make requests and check the progress. That is the flow. Always, HODs or the managers, they will always inform, order, give the instructions, sometimes they request, sometimes they give the advice and so on. So it is downward. So that is, now if you are the person who is higher in the hierarchy and you are using this downward communication and giving some instructions to lower, like you are the director, principal or head of the department, and you are conducting a meeting and giving information to the faculty members, right? So that is the imagination, let us say. Or you are the manager and you are giving information, communicating with the team leaders and the workers. So very important, be polite. Yeah, you are boss, you are the owner, you may be the owner, but this is being polite, being humble is the key to success. Then keep yourself in their shoes. Excuse me. So just imagine how would you react if you would have been at their place. If you are sitting in that chair and you are head of the department, manager talks like that. If you feel yes, I'll accept, this is fine, go ahead with whatever you are saying. If you feel no, this is not good language, I will not bear that, you change your language. Equality in work assignment. This is very important for the success of internal communication, and in that regard, the success of any organization. Equality in work assignment in downward flow of communication is important. What happens usually otherwise? As being higher in the authority, we feel that giving tasks to all the people is my work, and what you find, you give task to person who is doing more job. And if there is somebody who is ignorant, you also ignore that person. It should not be done. The task should be given, assigned equally, right? The person who is not working, you should make that person work. The person who is working well, appreciate that person. It is not the case that because that person is your very good colleague, very best friend, so you will just ignore, will not give much work to that, and you will give some work to the newcomers, newly joining members, and get the work done from them. It happens, it is universal, right? This is experience of every faculty member, I hope, who are attending this FDP. So in that case, we should keep it in mind that you anyhow, even if your brother is there in the faculty member, the work should be equally distributed, assigned. And there is a need of encouragement for everyone. Always keep encouraging your colleagues. Always keep encouraging your the workers who are lower in the hierarchy. So whenever they do something, encourage. Very good, you have done that job. If they are facing problem, no problem, I'm giving you 1 more day, 2 more days are there. Try it and come up with the solutions. Don't shout at them. Give them chance, give them opportunities, and encourage them. They'll definitely do wonders for you. Going next, upward communication. Now suppose you are at the lower level now. From lower to higher, the communication, that is upward communication. You are in the lower hierarchy and now you are communicating with your head of the department, your dean, your principal, your manager, your managing director, and so on. So what are the functions? Of course, lower in the authority, what students can do, what workers can do, right? They will make the requests, they cannot give orders, right? They will make requests, they will tell the progress, they will report the progress, they'll talk about their needs, we need this, we need that, and they also give us some suggestions. So these are the functions. Now suppose you are a part of that upward communication. Again, you have to be very polite, right? So here you have to be polite. Here, that's why I said polite. Being polite and humble is the key to success. So be polite, politely, even if you are angry, just politely put it. Clear communication, whatever you want to say, it should be mentioned, it should be put in a very clear way, without hesitation, without having any other intention in your mind. Then no misguiding. It may happen that you are working hard and your manager, your higher authority depends on you more, and your higher authority listens to you more. So you should not misguide your higher authority by telling ki this person is not working, that person is working, and so on. There are so many. I hope you are understanding what I want to say. So don't misguide the higher authorities. That has a very, very bad impact on the organization as whole. Then put real situation. Tell it true. Right, because higher authority does not have much time to come down always and check the things. You should not tell something which is imaginary. You should not say, yes, work is done, no problem, everything is ready. And when the manager or the managing director comes, it is in still progress. So put real situation and go ahead with no comparison with peers. This is again here, as it is equality in work assignment, here no comparison with peers. You should not compare. You should not say ki this my colleague is also a worker and he is not working, I'm just working, or he is not given the task, he is not given the work by the manager because of maybe some close relationship, and why should I work? No comparison. If task is given to you, definitely you are supposed to do. If you find now here that the equality in work assignment is there, you are always given the work because you are doing it sincerely, no problem. When you feel that it is more now, so you have to simply and humbly, very politely go to your higher authority and tell ki, sir, madam, I have done it 2-3 times, right? Now I expect someone else to do. Will you please assign this task to someone else? Saying is very important. Unless and until you tell, they will not understand that you are actually tired of doing that work. What they will feel, you are enjoying, you are doing, you are giving the results, and you are just will get all the works again and again. So simply tell that, request politely, please give me give me some relief from this, and let someone else do this. Definitely will find very good response from your higher authority, and there will be health. That this is nothing but healthy communication, healthy internal communication. If you feel very angry because you are given all the time task, and you just take the task, you come at your place and you just shout, why that person is giving me the work again, why is it not given to someone else, so on. You keep mum, you just shout, later on you keep mum, you do the work and give the result. Tomorrow you get next work. So instead of that, if you are capable of doing that, definitely do it. But if you feel ki no, I have to do, not comparing someone else, not because someone else is not doing, because you are not let us say enjoying that work now, and you want to get someone let us say carry on or hand over that work to someone else and do something else. So that is upward communication. And the diagonal communication, it may flow in any direction. The function is mixed one, as everybody is involved there. And in diagonal communication, one very important care we should take is keep the next hierarchy in chain. That is, if as assistant professor you are communicating with the head of other department, you should keep the head of your department in chain. Like we put in CC. In email we have the facility CC and BCC. So if we are mailing to the highest authority, we are supposed to keep the higher authority in the CC, right? So that is one important aspect, at least after communication. Okay, it may happen that there is emergency and you directly went and communicated, or you sent the email without even keeping your next authority in chain. At least after communication is done, you are supposed to tell, sir, you were not there, it was urgent, so I have communicated this person. So that is very important. That will create, it will simply, your next authority will feel that, okay, the person has done it and he has informed me. There will not be any kind of misunderstanding. Otherwise, if your next authority comes to know about your communication with that another person, another authority, they will feel why they are connecting, why he has not informed me, there must be something going on, and so many misunderstandings may take place, and that may hamper your relation with yourself, between yourself, as well as that is not good for the organization. Then here also, no comparisons, you should not make comparisons, and maintain confidentiality. Now, even if you are communicating, suppose assistant professor of one department goes and communicates with the head of the department head of other department. Now, it is usually observed that there are so many discussion goes on what is happening in this department, what is happening at that department, and we go on just giving some of the things which are not supposed professionally to be communicated, to be shared. So maintain confidentiality. Same thing may happen in professional context as well. A person from production department goes and meets the manager of sales department and is telling sales, they are discussing something which is not supposed to be discussed. Though we are from one organization, there is some confidentiality to be maintained by the person who is lower in the hierarchy, because HODs may come together, they may discuss, right? The managers, they may come together, they discuss, right? They may have some of the strategies to develop. We are not supposed to talk about. So maintaining confidentiality is very important. So I hope this is the soul of internal communication, all horizontal, downward, upward, diagonal, nature and the functions. Try to follow it. Let's move ahead. Yeah, one is remaining, characteristics and functions of Grapevine, and that's why I have taken it separately, because it is very important, it is very funny, it is very interesting, and it is very useful as well as very harmful. How? Very active in almost every organization. So what is Grapevine? Informal communication, any direction, nobody is following any hierarchy, worker is going and meeting managing director sometimes comes and have a tea with worker, right? And there may be business related communication, there may be just informal communication about the family and the plannings and so on. So anything that comes in Grapevine. So it is there in every organization. Every organization has this Grapevine communication. Now, some of the organizations consciously use it to great effect to develop their human resource and in turn their productivity. Now, how is it? Suppose a group of workers of one department, they are suffering because they are not getting latest equipment, and the team leader or the managing director or the concerned authority is not, let us say, taking action against that, right? When the managing director or the director one day directly comes and meets that group of workers and asks about their problems, and then he comes to know this is the problem, they are not getting good equipment, latest equipment. In one day, the managing director or the director sanctions that, and next day they get the equipment. So why there are so many successful businessmen who used Grapevine successfully in their organization, and they have found very good results. I'll give the example, right? Like, see, Michael Eisner, the chairman of Walt Disney, adopted this MBWA, that is management by walking around. What Michael used to do, Walt Disney, I hope you know it very well. Just go on Google and find about him. Right, so he used, and that is the concept came into existence with him. That is MBWA, management by walking around. He used to walk around every, let us say, day, every week after some intervals, and used to discuss with all the members, all the workers, and used to take the decisions. Right, so that is nothing but Grapevine communication. However, it has some disadvantages as well. Let us see. So nature of this Grapevine is informal, no any formality, no direction, as I just discussed. Function mixed, maybe request and everything giving information. Advantages are immediate feedback. You get immediate feedback for higher authorities. Now suppose instead of following the hierarchy, like director is expecting some information from the students, so he passes to this request or this information, or asks this information to dean students activities. Dean students activities passes that information again to all the heads of the department. Every head of the department passes that requirement of the director to their class teachers. Class teachers call the CRs and they say ki this is the information needed, go and take it. So too many transfer stations. So in that case, that communication is not effective. Right. Now how if the director directly goes in the class and just have an interaction with the students? Now it is breaking the hierarchy, it is breaking the chain. This is gray point communication. It is also diagonal, but if it is official, that is diagonal. Director sir is coming directly asking about what are their problems, where are they from, what they expect, and so on. That will become gray point. So they will directly get the feedback. Then immediate problem solved. Immediately the problem is solved, concern is addressed, conflicts are resolved. Maybe if there are some conflicts, they may be resolved because of the gray point, and it serves as an outlet of anxieties. Now suppose somebody is afraid of the higher authority, somebody is afraid of, let us say, something. So when they have informal discussion, right, suppose a newly joined person is very, very anxious, fearful about the boss. If the boss is so friendly and he just gives some informal talk with him, where are you from, come have a lunch together, that person will feel relaxed. So it is outlet for anxieties, worries and frustrations as well. If somebody is frustrated, right, and the gray point communication is used in that case, in their case, right, definitely that will overcome their frustration and they'll feel relieved. After all, communication, that is, human beings, we need to be in groups, we need to be in teams, we need to be in society, and we must be in communicating context. Disadvantages of gray point: it is harmful if it is baseless. Like, suppose one worker gives feedback of the team leader to the manager informally. Team leader is very harsh, he is giving a lot of work to us and he is not working properly, he is just harassing us. If it is, and suppose in that case the manager or the managing director takes action and he fires that team leader, that is baseless, that is not good for the organization, right? Suppose the disadvantage, that is not reliable. Now what is being said is, who is going to rely? Who is going to believe? It is not reliable. It may lead to misunderstanding as no authentic source. So it is simply spread, and this is spread faster than the actual news, or let us say actual information. If you want to, you can use this gray point. If you want to spread something, just tell it to the peon outside your cabin. In just 2-3 minutes, that information would have reached to everyone. That is the gray point communication. But if it is not from authentic source, it may be the cause of misunderstanding. It may lead towards decay if wrongly used. As I gave the example, if grapevine is nothing but gossiping, then that is bad. Then that is not going to be useful at all for any kind of organization. I repeat, if grapevine is gossip, that is not going to be useful for any organization. That will definitely take that organization towards decay. That's why grapevine is both useful as well as harmful. It should be used wisely for the growth of organization. Grapevine, informal communication. Let's move ahead next. And the second part of this session, talking about barriers to communication and the solutions. Now, we have seen about communication, we have seen the process, we have seen scientific process, we have seen communication in the business context, we understood all the elements, we are doing it formal communication, we are following the flows, right? We are following the hierarchy, everything is fine. Still, why communication fails? Why you do not get the expected results? Why you have to repeat the same message 2-3 times to get the work done? Why? Because there are some problems. And let me start this with this wonderful quote by G.B. Shaw, well-known dramatist, English dramatist. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. What is the problem? We always feel that I have communicated, it means communication is done. Illusion, right? Illusion, that is something which is not real, which does not exist. We feel that I have talked, I have given all the information, it means students have understood, everybody will pass. No, it is illusion, because there are certain problems, and that's why you don't get expected feedback. That's why you need to repeat. Everybody feels that I have done the part. Suppose you are at recipient's part. So I have understood everything, whatever my boss has told, I'll definitely do the work. You go back, you do the work, you prepare a report and go and submit to your boss after, let us say, 2-3 hours or 2-3 days hard work. And your boss simply looks at you and says, this is not what I expect. You didn't hear me properly. I told you to do this. Because the single biggest problem, illusion. You failed, you have understood, but you failed. So what are those barriers of communication? What comes in between the successful communication and how to overcome those? That we will see in next part of this session. So let me begin with again the base. What is barrier? It is hindrance, it is obstacle, a hurdle, difficulty or problem that comes in communication, and in simple terms it is anything that creates problem in communication to be successful. What is barrier? Anything that creates problem in communication to be successful. Message is not conveyed as expected due to some of the external as well as internal factors, which are known as communication barriers. So the message is not conveyed because of some external factors as well as some internal factors. Let us see all those. Few of the barriers we can control. Yeah, some of the barriers are there which we can control. Sorry, which we cannot control, right? Few of the barriers which we cannot control, but there are many which we can overcome. It is just the need of understanding the barrier and understanding solution on that, and that is the purpose of this part of the session now. Ultimately, if you wish to create impact, there is no barrier. It means, suppose we'll say ki language is the barrier or some other barriers, but if you wish to create impact, definitely there is no barrier. Anyhow, you will get your work done. Okay, let's move now and look at the types of barriers. In common or in general sense, communication barriers are divided in these types. We will see communication barriers in general communication as well as in business or professional communication. So in general day-to-day communication, the barriers are divided like number one, physical barrier, that is problem. So noise. Now in Ganpati festival, when you are with your friend and when you are just near the Dolby, you will not be able to understand. So because of that noise, you are not understanding. That is creating problem. You are communicating, you are studying, and some function is going outside, and it is they're playing let us say Dolby or sound system with big noise. So that noise may distract. So that is a problem. Distance. You are at one place and someone is at other and you are communicating. That is also a problem. Environmental conditions. The physical conditions. If it is very hot and electricity is not there, ACs are off, so you are facing problem. You may not be able to concentrate on the message, or you want to go at one particular place, but it is rainy season, there it is raining very heavily, you are not able to reach to that particular place, you are delayed by 1 hour. Miscommunication, delay, that is barrier. Natural calamities. Now natural calamities are any like flood, earthquake, and so many. So because of those, we get disconnected from a part of the society and there is no communication between those. That is called as natural calamities. There are certain personal disabilities also which may create problem in communication. So dumbness, deafness, stuttering, blindness, because of which there may be some barrier in communication. This second type is mechanical barrier, faulty instruments or machine illiteracy. Like for example, I prepare a presentation, I go in the class and I just try to connect my pen drive to the system available there, but that system is not working. The entire hour is spent, right? So that is miscommunication, barrier in communication, right? Or machine illiteracy. I do not know how to operate that machine and I promise my boss that I'll do. I go and even I'm not able to start the machine and the work is not done. Miscommunication, barrier. Socio-cultural, very important now. Socio-cultural barrier. Now there are certain barriers which are created because of the class, caste, cultural differences, political views. For example, a person is from one class or one caste is assigned with a specific psychology, specific mentality. Even if that person is having very good ideas, nobody listens. because that person is from that class. So if he is giving some information, we feel he is from that caste or that class, higher class or lower class. So we should not listen because it is for them, because he is in higher class, or it is not for us because he is in lower class, and so on. So that is that creates problem. Cultural differences. Two different people from different cultures, they may have different let us say, I do not want to give religious examples, but there are so many different cultures amongst ourselves as well. Like Hindus, we are following different cultures. Likewise, other religions, they are following different cultures. Some of the cultures we celebrate together, but some of the cultures we do not even look at, or we do not contribute there. So cultural differences, that may create problem. Political views, this is very important. I can discuss on this, no problem. Because let me give example. You have a very good friend and he is a very motivational speaker. He gives very good ideas. He is giving solutions to all the problems and everything. But people are not listening him because he is supporting one political party, which the other people don't like. Right? So because of his political views, political, let us say, support, the people are not listening him. Same may happen with you. You two colleagues are coming together. One is supporting one party, another is supporting another political party, and you are having disagreements. And you are having very good views, but you are not following each other because you feel I am from other, he is from other political background. That may create problem in communication. Yes, now we are going internal. Right? External to internal, psychological problems, fear and phobia. We do not communicate because we are afraid of. Phobia is nothing but anxiety. Superiority, inferiority complex. Right? That is superiority complex. I am the owner, I am the boss, I am the head of the department, I am the principal, I am professor, you are assistant professor, you are student, you are class teacher, you have to follow me. Superiority complex. I am right. Right? I am always right. Opposite to that, inferiority complex. Right, that is, I'm just a newcomer, I'm just a student. How can I go and talk with the head of the department? How can I give the information? How can I justify my, let us say, absenteeism and so on? So that is psychological barrier. Inferiority complex, always feeling inferior to someone. Superiority, always feeling superior to everyone. Halo and horns effects, very interesting. Halo effects, horns effects. That is, halo effect is what? One person is good in one field, that's why he is assigned or he is considered good in all the fields. Like suppose you find a student who is very good in cricket and you also like cricket, so you have halo effect about him. You feel that that person is all-rounder. He can do good in cricket, he can do good in studies, he can do good in practical sessions, he can do good in projects. Halo effects, always you rely on that person, that particular student. In class as well, you ask a question and even if some other students are giving very good answers, you are just asking that student whom you like and you want to give chance to that person and ask him only, tell your view and what you feel about. That is called as halo effect. Horns effect is what? Opposite to that. You find some student bad or not good in one particular area and you feel he is a wastage. So suppose he is not playing good on cricket ground. Let me give the same example. He is not good in cricket and you like it and you find that because of him that team lost match. You will feel always that he is not good in cricket, not good in studies, not good in practical. Everywhere you will feel even if he is having very good ideas, you will say, okay, you keep mum, I know you don't have much capabilities. That is called as horns effects. Do we have those? Halo effects, horns effects? Find out. We definitely have. Everybody has some halo effects about someone and some horns effects about someone. We have to overcome. That is a barrier. Then closed minds. I do not want to learn. I do not want to listen to you at all. I do not want to learn anything from that person. Closed minds. That is a problem. It is a psychological barrier. Next, linguistic or semantic barrier. Semantic related to meaning, linguistic related to language. Number one, illiteracy. Illiterate people cannot read. So if there is something to be read, they will take help of someone else. That is illiteracy barrier. Different languages. I am having different language and person in front of me having another language and we are not able to even communicate effectively in English. So that may create problem. Jargon. Jargon is use of informal language by a group of people. Right? The other term may be like code language. So jargon used by a particular community may not be understood by the other community. And if you use a word from that jargon, nobody will understand. Spelling, grammar mistakes, Freudian slip, that is slip of tongue. Most of the time what happens, we say something which we do not want to, and there is a let us say misunderstanding, or there is a let us say distance in your relationship, or you do not want that person to be with you because of that slip of tongue. So that may create problem. Errata, that is spelling and printing mistakes, and so on. So that is about common barriers. How to overcome? Of course, like physical, we have to take care of that. Mechanical, we should first know it all. Socio-cultural, do not think about caste, class, cultural differences. Now it is simply do not do anything of that is nothing but the solution to that. We are going to see solutions at the end as well. Now, barriers in professional or in business context. How they are, what are those, and how they are important. And this is very important for everybody of us to understand it, because we are working professionals, we are working in some of the professions, or we are going to work soon or later. So number one, very important, is intrapersonal barrier in business context. Why there is a conflict, why we are not successful professionals? Because of one barrier, that is intrapersonal barrier, that is barrier within ourselves. What is included there? Wrong assumptions. Number one, we assume something wrong. For example, I said, to be effective speaker, you should work on your kinesics. Kinesics is very important part of improving your speaking skills, public speaking skills. So start working on your kinesics. What I have assumed here, you must be now asking, what is kinesics? First tell us. So I assumed that this particular term from, let us say, communication is known for all, and just I am going on using this kinesics word. I made wrong assumption that everybody knows it, but communication has taken place. You do not know that kinesics is nothing but body language. Now you understood body language is kinesics, and then you are getting it. Right. In the same way, like, I prepared one recently, I prepared one video on creating educational videos, and in that I have used when describing the owner of that channel, I said ki this YouTube channel is prepared by a person who is from CSE background. Now I said CSE background. Now CSE stands for Computer Science and Engineering, which is very known term in our area. But computer science and engineering may have some other abbreviation at your end. It may be C and S, it may be CS only, it may be computer science. But I thought ki CSE background, I assumed wrongly that everybody knows CSE means computer science and engineering. So when we are communicating, we have wrong assumptions, and with that we communicate, and we expect that that person should come and give the results, and we fail there. So just put yourself, simple solution is put yourself at the receiver's end. Does that receiver have all the information about whatever you are telling? Is he from the same background? Considering that, use the words communicate. Next, very important, varied perceptions. Now everybody has varied perceptions of the things. And here let me tell you story of 6 blind men interpreting an elephant. I hope you know this, but before that, let's just look at this particular very, very impressive quote, that everything we hear is an opinion, not the fact. If you understand this and always remind yourself about this, you will definitely become a very good effective communicator. What is that? Everything that we hear is just an opinion, that may not be the fact. You have to confirm. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Right? So it may be another perspective. It may not be truth. So you have to clarify the things and then go on communicating. So let me tell you the story of this. Now there are 6 blind people who are they have, of course, as they are blind, they have not seen elephant at all. And once they are told to interpret the elephant, what happens? The person, 6 people touch the 6 different parts of the elephant, and they perceive it in that way and describe as per their experience. So the person who touches the ear of the elephant says that elephant is like a fan. The person who touches the trunk of the elephant says that it is like a snake. The person who touches the tusk, the tooth of the elephant, says that it is like a sword. The person who touches the leg says it is a tree. The another person says, you all are wrong. What are you describing? The elephant is so big and it is like a wall. And the last person says, it is not big at all. It is just like a rope, because he is touching the tail of the elephant. Now, can you tell me Is anybody wrong here? Is anybody right first? No, nobody is rightly describing the elephant. Is anybody wrong? No, because everybody is describing some part of the elephant, and at that time, at his place, he is correct. What is wrong? Because they all are not considering each other's opinions, and they all are not looking at elephant from different perceptions. They are just having one perception and describing immediately. That is why they are failing. So what is the solution here? All those 6 should come together and talk about their opinions, talk about their experience. So if they all describe what they experienced, the conclusion will be, so elephant is a big animal which has something like rope, wall, tree, sword, snake and fan. So it is like this. Or everybody has to take the experience. Now this, there is another image. Now look at this, the perspective, varied perspective. I hope perceptions, varied perceptions. You must have got this on different social media platforms. From this angle, it looks 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but for him it is 1, 2 and 3. Now from this side, you also can see 1, 2 and 3, but from this side it is 1, 2, 3, 4. He is saying 4, he is saying no, it is 4. He is saying 3, saying no, it is 3. What they have to do? They have to exchange their places and find out, array, there is something wrong. It is from here 3, it is 4. It happens in our case as well in our day-to-day communication. We have our own perception, we go on communicating, we do not consider others' perception. The same happens at his or her place as well. Next, intrapersonal, that is within ourselves. Next is differing background. That is, the people may come from different background, different educational background, cultural background, language background, socio-economic status and so on, and they may be communicating, like doctors using medical terminology. Now when you go to doctor visit and when doctor gives you advice, look at the terminology they use. A good doctor always describes your disease in your own terms. But there are some doctors, maybe there are some doctors who will use their medical terminologies and will simply mention this has happened and this you have to do. You have to come out, you have to ask the assistant, you have to ask the medical person, and then you understand what is the problem. So the person may not be from medical background and may not understand everything. This happens with everyone. Like lawyers explaining some terminologies may not be known to all and so on. So differing background, understand the background first and then communicate to avoid barriers. Categorical thinking. Categorical thinking, that is a kind of category always used, that is, I know everything better than you. So in that case, in that field, in that, let us say, region, I know everything because I am the master, I have done PhD in that, so I know everything. Such people are called as, this is very interesting, such people are called as pansophists. Pansophists are a person possessing or pretending to universal knowledge. They possess, either it is previously it is used for the people who are possessing, but now it is used for the people who are pretending for the universal knowledge. They simply pretend. You must have come across with some of such people. They feel, I know everything about that. So that is a categorical thinking. For example, a person always saying he or she knows it already may stop learning. I know it, I understand it, no problem. This is done in my 12th standard, this is done in my graduation. I have learned all this in my previous job. I should not attend this. I should not listen him or her. So that kind of people actually stop learning. We should not, we should go ahead. Then communication barriers. Second, in business context, second one is interpersonal barriers between two or more persons now. Now, all right, internal we understood, internal we may have good perceptions and so on, we can work on that. What about interpersonal now? The interpersonal barriers between two people. What are those in business context and what are the solutions? See, ineffective communication skills, right? So if you are not able to communicate effectively, you will not be appreciated by your boss, you will not be appreciated by your colleagues, you will not get any good, let us say, opinions, good weightage amongst your people, because you are not effectively communicating. That's why you need to work on that. Mismatch of verbal and non-verbal communication. Like you say something, but your body language is telling something else. And this is our usual experience. You know, you two are there, one of your third group member comes, he says something and goes out. You tell your friend, your colleague, says ki he was saying this, but he was smiling. there must be something wrong. Or he was saying this, but he was not serious, there must be something wrong. So we understand mismatch between your communication, verbal and the non-verbal cues. Non-verbal, very interesting topic, where the next session is on that one. Very interesting, and I have created it very interestingly with collecting a lot of very good resources from different sources. So that is mismatch between verbal and non-verbal communication. Communication selectivity. So that is, only I will listen this part of communication, only I will listen the presentation of that person. So only I will listen which is related to my, suppose I am accountant, there is a meeting going on about the planning of the organization. I will say no, I am accountant, I have to simply listen about related to accounting. Let other all HODs and Ds discuss about anything, about NAC, about anything. I have to just get up and listen about the accounting related things. No, it should not be like that. Poor listening, the great reason barrier in interpersonal communication, because we are poor listeners. Why is it? It is said that we all human beings are inherent poor listeners. We are going to see, I guess in fourth session, we are going to see listening mother of all skills, and why we are poor listeners and how to improve our listening skills. We are going to see there. Different cultures we have discussed. Emotional outburst. Now this is, look at the image. So emotional outburst, of course we are, as I have been telling, human being, and we have different tasks to be done, different relations we go on maintaining, and we go through various kind of let us say experiences, and we go on controlling our emotions, and a time comes when we outburst that. And the great example is Jab We Met. I hope you have watched that movie Jab We Met. That is one of my favorite movies. And the incident of one incident in the train, when Shahid Kapoor, exhausted of his life, he wants to commit suicide, and he just gets into a train, he sits, and then Kareena Kapoor enters, just talkative again. She goes on talking, and finally she asks what is the problem, and the emotional outburst is the Shahid Kapoor says that you are my problem, because already he is emotionally disturbed, and Kareena is asking just showing how casual she is, and so on. So emotional outburst can be a barrier in interpersonal communication. What is the solution? Keep your emotions aside. Your home emotions, relationship emotions at your home, professional emotions at your profession. Do not mix them. That is the only solution. I know it is very easy to say than to do, but yes, that is only the solution. We should control our emotions. Most of the time we may be wrong. Most of the time the emotions, whatever we are perceiving, may be completely wrong. Let me give one example here, one story I read, and I hope many of you must also have read. Once upon a time, a 7-8 years kid is traveling with his father in a bus, and the kid is very happy and very eagerly and excitedly always showing to his father, look papa, the tree is there, look papa, the tree is green, look outside the other vehicle, it is going, look at it is sky, look at that cloud, it is so golden, and so on. He is very happy, very shouting and telling all those things to his father. The other passenger sitting beside them gets very angry, and he controls emotion, controls, but there is outburst. Right? He says, why your kid is so excited? Has he not seen anything outside? Has he not seen the trees and the cars and the vehicles and the clouds? Tell him to keep mum. We are traveling, we are getting disturbed. That is emotional outburst. But the father says, I'm sorry my friend, but today only he has got his eyes. He was a blind, and today only somebody donated eyes, and today only his operation is successful, and he is seeing this world for first time. How do you feel if you are the person who is emotionally outburst and you come to know like this? That is why we have to think before we speak. Control your emotions, and emotional outburst, no, not at all, at any cost. That is only the solution. Then next is organizational barriers. Okay, now task for you. Barriers occur not only due to individual or between two people, but they may exist in all organizations as well. That is, I am clear as a person, you are also clear, we are working good, but we are suffering because of some of the organizational barriers. Can you pause for a while and think about the possible organizational barriers? Just guess what can be those organizational barriers which may create problem in communication. Alright, put in text, put in chat box, put in comment section. At least think in your own mind. That will engage, that will definitely make you permanent to overcome those barriers. Okay, you can pause the video and come again resume it. Let me go ahead, because understanding self intrapersonal barriers and overcoming, yes, you have done that. Understanding interpersonal barriers between two and more people, you have understood, yes, you have overcome that. What about organizational barriers which are not in your hand? How to tackle those? Let us see. First, the main organizational barriers are, number one, too many transfer stations. So one message is transferred through so many stations. I gave example before some time. Director has some message to be given to the students, passes to dean students activities, he passes to the HODs to the class teachers, then CRs, and to the students. The message completely gets distracted, changed. So use as less transfer stations as you can. If possible, make it direct communication. Right, that is the solution. Second, fear of superiors. As a inferiority complex, fear or anxiety. Because of that, it may be communication may fail, may suffer. Negative tendencies. There I do not want to blame any organization, even I do not want to give a specific field where this takes place, but it is there everywhere. If some new project comes, there is negativity. If something new comes, negative tendency. What is going to be benefited? I'm not getting much, I'm not getting satisfactorily payment, so why should I work, or why the work is just getting increased, and so on. So always negative. This is not going to be useful, this is not going to be of any use for the organization, this will fail in coming future, this will just run for. So many negative tendencies are there. Even if there are some people who would like to work, because of the negative tendency of some of the people, we get discouraged, people get discouraged, and that is why the organization suffers. We have to overcome that as well. Use of inappropriate media. Like suppose there is an agreement, there is a MOU between two organizations, and the MOU is just done through oral or just done through email, and there is no any signature and so on. So used inappropriate. If something wrong happens in future, you have used inappropriate media, written or spoken or presentation or some other symbolic, graphical, we have to choose. And that, suppose you are talking about a sales, taking a sales review, and you are giving information in just figures, that may not be much effective, that may create problem. If you are giving it in graphs or pie chart, definitely that is useful. Next, dominance of grapevine. Yeah, if in work organization that grapevine is dominated, there is a organizational barrier, because even if I am head of the department, I am not listened, because I find that my other colleague is very close, let us say, in relation with my head or my higher authority. So even if I say something, the higher authority may not listen, or even if I give some instruction to him or her who is working under me, he will not feel much worried about, because he knows, no, I have good relation with the higher authorities, so that is not good. So dominance of grapevine, something is said and immediately actions are taken. And the grapevine, that is gossiping, if that is dominated, that organization suffers. And the last one, very important, information overload. That is all the information we just go take and keep in storaging. Like, look at this man, he has made urgent tray, this is also urgent tray, and so many urgent works are there. In addition, the peon is coming with another tray of urgent works, maybe. So too much information overload. Number one, we should not keep such works pending. If they are coming, as I told, you have to just hand over some of those to others and come out of this barrier. Now let us come to the end of the session now and talk on the solutions of barriers. So number one, general barriers: listen, listen, listen and paraphrase. Listening is very important to avoid any kind of barrier. Be non-judgmental. Do not judge people, do not judge situations. Be very, let us say, neutral and just take part in communication. Be empathetic, that is, put yourself at others' shoes. you will definitely get solution. You will not have miscommunication. Don't assume anything. Don't make assumptions. Again, be transparent, be clear, be neutral, right? Put yourself at others' end and then decide how will you communicate. You will definitely get, though not 100%, but 99% of your communication will be successful. Stick to the subject. Don't divert. Talk on the topic. Do not have divergence in meetings, in conferences, in discussions. Generalize only when needed and if suitable. Sometimes we generalize the things. So if needed, you can do it, and if it is suitable, go ahead with. Select appropriate channel of communication. Very important. Keep your personal self aside. Who am I? My background, my knowledge, my capabilities, my experience. We should keep it aside when we are communicating and get involved in communication process. And then as per your knowledge, as per your capacities, go on contributing. Overcome fear or phobia by doing the same thing which you are afraid of. So this is one solution. If you are suffering from fear and phobia or inferiority complex, do the same thing. Suppose you are afraid of going in front of your manager. Go deliberately and communicate. That is only the solution. And yes, be respectful. Give respect, take respect. That is only the solution. This is the end of session now, the last part, and very important again, how to improve our communication. Overall about communication system and the levels and the flow and communication in business context, including barriers and solutions. Let us see some of the universal, let us say, tips on developing our communication. So continuous practice and conscious implementation of these tips will definitely help you become an effective communicator. What are those? Number one, always keep the receiver in mind. That is, be receiver centric. So whenever you communicate, now it looks like as if you have to prepare a lot and do. No, even if you are going to speak something, just see who is your listener and what he or she will feel if you say in this way. Is that person having that necessary knowledge? Just think these two things and go on communicating, right? Next, it is create an open communication environment. What is open communication environment? It is transparent communication. There is no any kind of favorism. There is no any kind of let us say relationship kind of communication, or there is no any kind of miscommunication as well, right? Depending on the position, depending on the relations. So create open communication environment. Even if a newly joined worker is coming and talking with you, listen and just react. You should not simply say, you have just joined, go out, I do not want to listen. No, right? So create open communication environment. Avoid having too many transfer stations. So it is, you have to avoid having too many transfer stations in business context. As I told, have direct communication. Avoid communicating when you are emotionally disturbed, emotional outbursts. If you are emotionally disturbed at the time, it is better to avoid your communication. At both, I'm not only talking about formal communications. Suppose you have dispute with your colleague, with your higher authority, with your manager or head at college or at the working profession in professional context. You come home and you just have a kind of emotional outburst with your family members, with your kids, with your children. That is not going to work. We have to be calm, of course, and we should not communicate at all when you are emotionally disturbed. Be aware of diversity in culture, language, etc. We should know that that person is from different culture, I am from different culture. It is his or her practice and this is my practice, right? Let that person do what he or she follows. I will do my own, and let us respect each other. Simple. That will avoid any kind of barrier, miscommunications, and that will make you very effective communicator, right? This will make you effective communicator. Use appropriate non-verbal cues. It has come, I guess, thrice, and that is why it is very important. In next session we are going to see how non-verbal communication is so important in communication development. Select the most suitable medium as per the situation, and most importantly, analyze the feedback. If you get response, analyze it. Did you get the expected response? Did you get what you expected, or something is wrong? Why that has gone wrong? How would you improve next time? So that is very important, analyzing the feedback. Let me end this session with again another favorite quote of mine, and this is by Warren Buffett. Now, who is Warren Buffett? Don't ask, go and find out who is Warren Buffett. What he says recently in his one of the interviews and the video posted on LinkedIn, he made it common that why communication skills. He says why we should focus on communication skills. He says that a relatively modest, genuine improvement can make a more difference in your future earning power as well as in many other aspects of your life. He says that if you relatively work on just modest improvement, that is your genuine, true, sincere improvement of communication skills, will definitely make major difference in your future earning power. Who is Warren Buffett? A well-known investor, the successful investor in the world, and he is called as the father of investment these days. So he says that if you improve your communication skills, your future earnings power is improved, and as well as in many other aspects of your life you will get success. And this is his statement: if you improve your communication skills, I guarantee that you will earn 50% more money over your lifetime. There is a story behind this statement, behind this interview. Just go on internet and find out Warren Buffett on communication skills, you will get it. So everybody is insisting on improving communication skills. If you are looking from financial point of view, Buffett is saying that you will earn 50%, that is double than whatever you are earning now, if you work on your communication skills and improve it, right? So with this, this is the end of the session, the end of day 1, but there is one activity for you. What you are supposed to do: number 1, based on this is task for you. You can either write or you can think. If you are writing, you can mail me, no problem, that writing. And if you are thinking, just put that in the chat box, in the comment section, or you can simply put at one platform that I have created, and that you are supposed to put it there, your views, what you are supposed to do. But I request everyone to take part, everyone to do these tasks. If you do this, it will take just 1 or 2 hours, and you can do it in the rest of the day. It will definitely help you to internalize whatever we have learned about communication skills in these 2 sessions. So number 1, based on your recent experiences, think or write about one incident of each type, like intrapersonal communication, your own experience, when you communicated to yourself recently, and when you communicated to non-human or non-living things. Next, why did you use that type of communication? Why you communicated to yourself, why you communicated to non-living things, and what was the outcome? What you got? Did you get expected outcome? Did you get satisfied or what? Second task, imagine that you are an owner of a company or the organization. What all things will you do to keep your internal communication healthy? You are the owner, you are the boss of a company. What will you do so that your internal communication is healthy? Think, write, post. Third, very important, every one of us experiences psychological barriers to communication. Discuss with your family members or friends at least 2 incidents from your recent past where you experienced psychological barrier, maybe at your end or others' end. Psychological barrier at your end, or you find that the person with whom you are communicating is suffering from psychological barrier particularly. Explain okay, so just explain those 2 incidents. Now explain the psychological barrier. What is psychological barrier? Why is it why does it happen to your family member or friends, those who are not attending the course? Explain them that this is called as psychological barrier, and ask them to describe their experiences now, how they suffered like this. Ask them. And next part is discuss on what solutions you applied on that psychological barrier, or you think that what solution one should apply, either your family member or the friend who was suffering from that psychological barrier should have applied to overcome such barriers. So these 3 tasks, writing and keeping with you, no problem. If you would like to share, you can share in comment section, you can share on the platform. I am sharing the link, you can mail me as well, but do it. It is going to be much useful for you to internalize all the things we have learned. With this, let me end the session. These are some of the reference books that I have referred. Oxford books are good for those, and there are more other books as well which I have not mentioned here. Thank you very much for attending this session, and I hope I have given something good, something new about communication as a system. and this will be very much useful for all of you, and you will start working on that. Thank you very much for attending this session. See you in next session, wherein we are going to see about non-verbal communication and its importance and various ways of non-verbal communication. Thank you very much. See you.